Okay, we are live. We are live, and Briefit Dance is first. Briefit Dance is first in the house. Go to briefitdance.com, briefitdance.com. She's got the username Briefit Dance on most platforms, and check her out. Proof that fitness equals beauty. That's what I say. Fitness equals beauty. So this is part 2 of our emergency broadcast. The snowstorm is here. The winter storm that we were being warned about is actually materializing. It is snowing. It's a fine snow. It's very cold. It was 15 degrees here today. So it makes sense to talk about foul weather watches. Foul weather watches. Specifically, let me fold this back so I don't have to keep pulling this thermal top back. Especially cold weather, extreme cold. I think we can make the case that titanium is the way to go. Titanium is the way to go in extreme circumstances, specifically this diver watch, because the diver watch is designed to keep any form of moisture out of the watch that might then freeze inside the watch. Somebody made a comment about that. It's all about moisture in the watch. You don't want that in extreme cold. Well, I don't think you want that under any circumstances, but certainly under extreme cold, you probably don't. And so you're not going to get that with this diver stunner that's on wrist. Let's get a close up. Yes, your eyes are not deceiving you. It's definitely exposure's bright on the watch. I know it is. I should probably turn it down. I think I'm going to turn it down a little bit. Your eyes are not deceiving you. This watch does drape on the wrist very nicely and is super comfortable on wrist. That's what it appeared, and that is the case. Let me adjust the exposure on the watch, on the said watch. Give me a moment here. So that's on a neutral exposure. That's not overexposed or underexposed. See, the lighting is not good here because we don't have any ambient light coming in because it's very dark outside. And where I have that particular watch located, we don't really have good lighting on it. So it is what it is. You have to see that watch in person anyway to appreciate it. You can't really appreciate it on any video or any photos. David Williams is in the house. David Williams hanging out, and he's not freezing where he is, I don't think. Craig Logan Paul got scammed by buying $3 million worth of Pokemon cards with Ethereum. They turned out to be fakes. Oh boy. Yep. That's the problem. There's a lot of phony things out there floating around, a lot of phony things. And if you give something that is of real value, and Ethereum, tell you the truth, if I had Ethereum, I'd sell it and put it in Bitcoin. But anyway, that's a whole nother subject. But if you have something of real value and you trade it for something that is of no value, then that's not a good deal. That's why it's risky to think that you're going to make money in the watch market, buying and selling watches. There are a lot of scammers out there, and there are a lot of opportunities to have issues. And there are expenses involved. Even if you buy a Rolex watch at retail, if you're lucky enough to buy a Rolex watch at retail in this day and age, and then you go to resell it for, let's say, $5,000 more, there can be pitfalls there. There can be issues there. And there can also be expenses associated with doing that, right? So it's not all a bed of roses. You really should know what you're doing if you're in buying and selling anything, whether it be cars, watches, houses, whatever. The people that know what they're doing, they can do all right. But amateurs get involved, and there can be real problems. Scams are everywhere, guys. Bree knows. The scammers reach out to Bree. But here's the thing. She's so smart. She gets paid in advance for the videos that she does, the paid videos that she does, she gets paid in advance in Bitcoin, which once that is confirmed, once you've got your Bitcoin, that's it. It's done. It's a done deal, right? It's just like somebody handed you cash that was real, right? And that's a really cool thing about Bitcoin is there is no counterfeit Bitcoin. If the I'll put it this way, if the Bitcoin is sent to you and your wallet, a trusted wallet, confirms it with X number of confirmations, let's say half a dozen confirmations, that's it. It's done. There is no question about it. That is real Bitcoin, and it now is under your control, not your possession. The Bitcoin sits on the blockchain at all times. People think, well, he sent me some Bitcoin. No, he didn't really send you any Bitcoin. He sent you permission to then have control of that Bitcoin. Okay. And then you, with using your private key, can transfer that control of that Bitcoin to somebody else, right? That's the whole key, is who controls the Bitcoin. And so anyway, that's how that whole thing works. Good morning, Craig, Bree, Dave. Okay, there we go. So here's the thing. There was a comment on my video yesterday about moisture in the watches, that especially in cold weather, that can be a problem. I mean, I agree, but I mean, really, can't we just state that moisture inside a watch at any time is not a good thing? So I think we're overthinking things there. I don't think we want moisture inside the watch under any circumstances. But I agree with the poster that in cold weather it could be even worse because that water could freeze, right? And hang things up or whatever. But again, I think that a high quality watch like this one I have on, like the one on the bench, we're not expecting water to get inside these watches. And any high quality watch should be sufficiently produced that water and moisture should not be a problem. Now, if you're in an environment that's very humid, very wet all the time, and so on and so forth, you probably do want a watch like this that is designed, really to handle severe situations. I think the 002 Stunner could handle it. I think it's sealed pretty good. And I wouldn't be concerned with having that in humid environments and so forth. But if you're going to be in extreme environments a lot, then yeah, I think an extreme use piece like the 231 would be the way to go. And by the way, I do have I didn't put the links on this video, but on most of my videos, I put all the links to all of my resources that you can check out. And I will, after the show, I will remember to post the links in this one, hopefully. And then you'll have that. And by the way, somebody was asking about my vest yesterday. I'm wearing a different vest today. I'm wearing a, I think they pronounce it shot vest, but I do have in the clothing section, and I will put this link in the description. It's not there now, but I'll put this link in the description to all these photos on Flickr. I do have a whole photo set of high quality clothes, and each of these pictures here are different vests. Okay, so I just did a keyword search vest, but you can just go through all the photos in this particular album, and you'll see vests and you'll see all kinds of things. And the vest that I'm wearing now is this one here. And of course, it's made in the USA. Made in the USA. I like high quality items that are made in the USA. And this particular vest is goat skin. And so that's very durable, very rugged stuff. Has a nice grain, has a nice look to it. And so for those who might be curious, that is what we have here. And I do have, let me go back to the search here. I do have another vest by Shot also. And it is, where is it? I saw it here somewhere. Oh, this one here. This one here is a dark brown, and that's a different vest, but that's a dark brown, slightly different cut to it. The way the buttons don't go up as far, but that's also made in USA, and that one is lambskin, a soft leather, not quite as durable as goat skin, but pretty damn durable. Pretty damn durable. So that's the rundown on that. Craig, do you think your GS diver could survive accidentally being washed in the washing machine? Oh, yeah. Oh, heck yeah. That'd be light duty for it. Kyle's in the house. He says, hey, guys, what do you think, Kyle? Um, by the way, Kyle, give us an update. You do have a titanium Grand Seiko with the 9F movement. Give us an update on how that piece is doing. Are you wearing it? And what is the comfort factor on that? Now, for extreme cold, I think it might be wise to stick with the spring drive. Now, having said that, any watch, as long as you're wearing it on wrist, your body heat is going to warm it a certain amount, right? So maybe there's not really a problem with the battery in a 9F movement getting extremely cold. If you're wearing it on wrist, theoretically, your body's going to keep it, warmer than the ambient temperature, and maybe you're going to be fine. And if you guys could do some independent research and let me know in the chat, does titanium conduct heat better than stainless steel? I know that people have said that it has better thermal properties than stainless steel as far as comfort on the wrist, and I don't know what they mean by that. I haven't been able to find any independent data on that, but I'd be interested to know what the thermal properties are on titanium versus stainless steel, and which one conducts heat better. In other words, would take heat from your wrist and heat up the watch and keep it warmer in a extreme environment. That would be interesting to know, because we dive deep into the subject matter here on this channel, and we don't speculate, we don't guess, we research and we figure things out, and we do it all together. David's in the house. Craig, we're in the US. Our workshop products made, I think, in New York. I think in the New York area, but you could probably Google that. It might be a factory in New Jersey or something, but that's what I always was led to believe. Now, fortunately, even if they're not making them in the US anymore, there are quite a few of them around. They sold well. There's a lot of them around. And so it might have to be like an eBay item or something like that. And like any other clothing type items, sometimes you can find them in really good condition that somebody got as a gift or something and never wore much, or they put on weight and it didn't fit them anymore. For whatever reason, they're selling a high quality item of clothing that might be 20 or 30 years old and still in great shape. Like me, for example, I've got a ton of clothes that are 30, 40 years old that are still in great condition. And so eventually, when the time comes that all those things end up getting sold, somebody's going to get some really nice high end clothing that is still very serviceable. Very serviceable. Yeah, very serviceable. A shot in the dark. Hello at Boozer and at Kyle Jet. Okay, a shot in the dark with a Rolex thumbnail there. I like it. I like it. Do you have an Explorer 2? Is that the watch that you have? Is that the watch that you have, an Explorer 2? Kyle says, hi, shot in the dark. Okay. All right. So what else? There were some other controversies in some of the things. I just got into it with somebody about yellow gold. I had to correct him. Let me see if I can find it here. Yeah, I'm sure this is going to be it. Okay, yeah, this is it. Okay, so I commented Here was a post about, and we're doing this live, folks. We're doing this live. We're doing this live on the show. All right, we're doing this live on the show, so I'm not even going to read the comment. Okay, I'm going to cut to Facebook link. The Facebook link here, and this is what the gentleman posted. Okay. Unusually, I've been having naughty thoughts about two-tone recently. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. And then I commented, I said I would pass on rose or red gold. Why change yellow gold perfection? Rolex 18238 example. I sold it a few years ago. And so I posted a picture of the 18238. Then somebody replied and says, maybe because some prefer it over yellow. In other words, he's talking about they prefer the rose gold. And then I replied, I said, they would be wrong. Yellow gold is always the best option. Here's another example. So I showed him a picture of the watch that the lovely lady Brianna has and faux pay around it. And then somebody responded, they would be wrong. I don't think you realize how Kim Jong-un you're coming across right now. Well, yeah, I mean, somebody has to take charge, right? Somebody has to guide the peons. Okay, so that's what I'm doing here. And then we got another comment. There's definitely a place for other golds. This PF looks great in rose. Honestly, I like both. Just arguing. One size fits them down. Okay, agreed. It's all just opinion. And I should reply and say that, but many people's opinions are wrong. I mean, how silly is it? Think this through, folks. How silly is it for somebody to say, oh, it's just an opinion? Okay, it's snowing outside right now. I can't show you on the camera, but it's snowing outside right now. If I said it's not snowing, and that was my opinion, I say, hey, it's not snowing. That's my opinion. It's not snowing. That doesn't make me right just because it was my opinion. In that case, I was wrong. If somebody says you should go with rose gold over yellow gold, they would be wrong. That's a bad choice. It's a bad decision for a whole lot of reasons. First of all, it doesn't look as good. Second of all, it's not as easy to match with your other gold items. Different rose gold and red gold, and they have different tints to them, and you know it. And somebody's going to think, well, what is that? What is that watch? Is that like copper or what? What is that thing? I mean, you want gold, you want real freaking gold. Okay, this is something you don't improve on. You don't improve on freaking gold. Okay, I mean, come on. How how misguided is it to think that you're going to improve on the beauty of gold? I'm going to tint it a different color. And that's like these people that put the freaking nose rings in and they say that this is a good idea. Well, it's my opinion. A nose ring is a good thing. It's my opinion. So of course I'm like, no, you're not right. That was stupid. Okay, it was stupid. And to stretch your earlobes and put a big hole in there, like progressively stretch it more and more and more and more and more until there's like a huge hole in your earlobe and that's all hanging down. That would be a bad decision, even though it's your opinion that it looks good. No, it doesn't look good, period. You're wrong. Sometimes you're just wrong on things, folks. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments. Somebody has to say it. Somebody has to draw the line and say, no, this is not correct. I was more comfortable wearing TI watches in the desert than any other material. My MRG is ready for extreme climate. Okay. All right. Hello, Craig and all. Lance in the house. Anybody worn a titanium watch in extreme cold? How does it hold up in extreme cold as far as comfort? Ray's in the house. He might know. And I got somebody clapping. And Lance says yellow gold is the way to go. Yellow gold and stainless steel wouldn't look bad either. Okay. I think you meant Brief It Dance. What's your opinion on lip fillers? I don't know if Free Fit Dance is still here. She comes in and says hi, and as long as I plug her brand and stuff, then she just like goes about her business. Like, she just wants a plug. Can't blame her for that. Craig, would you put that stretch earring in for 2 BTC, one BTC per ear? No, I don't think so. Fortunately, I have plenty of BTC. I don't have a BTC shortage here. So I'll leave that for somebody else. I love my titanium GS, but I am not in extreme cold here. No, that's correct. Are you wearing it very much? That was the follow-up question on that, Kyle. Are you wearing the titanium GS very much? Let us know. Craig, you tell these jamokes what's right. I mean, here's the thing. The difference between me and Kim Jong-un is I'm not going to chop their head off if they if they don't follow orders, right? I'm not going to shoot them in the head or whatever, right? I'm going to let them go ahead and make silly mistakes, but I'm going to do my best to try to point it out and say, hey, wait a minute now, don't buy the freaking tutor, right? Just hold off, back away from the keyboard, ease off of the keyboard for a second here, and let's just pass on the whole tutor thing, and let's pass on the whole rose gold thing. Let's pass on the square watches with exposed screws. Let's back up a little bit from the keyboard, and let's not buy an ugly watch when we can buy a stunner. When we can buy a stunner, okay, for the same or less money, let's go ahead and buy the stunner. You can buy that stunner that's on the screen right now for less money than some people are paying for steel Rolexes. For a steel Rolex, you can buy that stunner and wear it the rest of your freaking life. The rest of your freaking life, and be wearing a stunner every freaking day for the rest of your life, versus a steel Rolex, which you'll probably have in the box somewhere because you don't want it to get scratched, because you're worried about the resale value. I got in a debate in another forum, a guy about the investment value of a Rolex and so on. And he's talking about the Rolex that he has, how much it's gone up in value and so forth and blah, blah, blah. And I said, have you run the numbers on that? I said, I have a whole video where I actually talk about that and I run the numbers. And even the Rolexes that have gone up quite a bit in value, generally speaking, do not give you a 10% annual return, which is what you would expect with a halfway decent investment. And nowadays, we need more than 10% because inflation is running rampant. Really, you need at least 20% return now. That's why a lot of my money is in Bitcoin, is because the typical 10% returns that we got, that on decent investments, 10, 12, 13, 14%, that sort of thing, on the S&P 500, that sort of thing, that's not enough anymore. The way they're inflating the currency, you're going to come out behind with those kind of returns. So you need more like 20% return now. It's really getting dicey, folks. It's getting dicey. Kyle says I'm wearing it right now. Can you even tell? Isn't that watch so freaking comfortable that you can't even tell it's on your wrist half the time? Does it kind of disappear on your wrist? Because that's what even this big hulking thing does. Because it's so comfortable on wrist, half the time I don't even realize I have it on. Craig, steel Rolex versus solid gold Tudor. Yeah, I would pass on the Tudor under any circumstances. I would pass on the Tudor. See what's new in Mac OS Monterey. No, I don't care about what's new in Mac OS 2 Monterey. I do wear it often, yes. Okay. What is your GSTI reference? David, they're really hard to find. I don't think they're easy to find. He got a great deal on it. He got a great deal on that thing. Is that the one you bought live on the show? Did you buy that live on the show? I know we were talking about it live on the show, but did you actually buy it live on the show, or was it later? It was a Japan market piece offered in 2017. Okay. Craig, if you were a broke no coiner today, would you take out loans and max out credit cards to acquire BTC? Hmm. That's a tough one. I hate being in debt, but I would hate more probably not having BTC. So, um, yeah, I'd probably do it, especially the way they're inflating the currency, because your debts would all be being paid back with dollars that are wildly deflated, right? And so I would be tempted to take out a loan on a house, to take out loans on anything, because the money that you're going to use to pay those loans back is going to be like highly deflated money. So you're going to come out ahead on that deal. But again, I'm not personally, I don't borrow money for anything. And that, again, that is most financial advisors would say that's stupid, right? That I should use leverage, right? I should, instead of having paid off houses, I should take out a loan on the houses and buy other houses and, just leverage the heck out of everything, right? But I don't feel comfortable doing that. And I don't feel I just don't want that kind of risk. I don't want to take on that kind of risk. So I've always been a very conservative investor. Here's the guy that has like half of his net worth now in Bitcoin, saying that I've always been a conservative investor, but I have been traditionally. And the only reason that half of my net worth now is in Bitcoin is because Bitcoin's gone up so freaking much compared to all my other assets that it has just outpaced everything. Our Wag says, I'm here just listening, visiting with an elderly lady right now in a nursing home. Oh, very nice of you. Very, very nice of you. Pay attention to her, our Wags. You can watch this on the replay. Where are all the Rolexes? The stores are empty. I think most of the Rolexes are being sold. I did buy it during the broadcast, laughing out loud. I think Craig, will you be getting the Lexus LX 600? Probably not. I don't like the look of any of the newer LX sedans. I like the older ones. I like the not LX, LS. What's LX? Oh, I'd have to look at the LX 600. But if it has the funky front end like a lot of the newer ones have, I'm not a fan. I think the LS 460 would probably be, if you got a little old lady, low mileage, beautiful condition one, would probably be almost the ideal car, because you can get them new enough that it still has all the Bluetooth stuff and you can connect your cell phone and all that, but old enough that you can get a good buy on one and you don't get the funky newer styling. So yeah, that's probably the way I would go. My TI G-Shock Square is handling the snowy Japanese winter just fine. So no, I don't have a freezing moisture in my watch problem. There you go. Craig, what is Bree going to do with your firearms when the time comes? Ask her. Ask her. That's a good question. But I think that she is going to become proficient with firearms. I think that's something that she's planning on doing. I looked it up. Nice GS reference, though 37 millimeters, a bit too small for me personally. I think 37 mil is a great size, David. I think it would look sweet. Craig, have you customized your Prius in any way? Trying to think. I don't think so. Let me think. It's interesting you should ask that, because I am thinking about doing two things. I've got a sponsor down in Frederick that does like car stereos and stuff like that. I'm thinking about having them put an Apple CarPlay radio in there, taking out the factory radio and putting an Apple CarPlay in there. And also, I'm thinking while he's doing all that, I'm thinking about having him install a what is it called? GMRS, is that what they're called? The radios that's like CB 2.0. I think it's GMRS. Yeah, GMRS, General Mobile Radio Service. Yeah. Anyway, I'm thinking about having a GMRS 50-watt mobile unit installed in the car. And I'm thinking about having all the windows, maybe all the windows tinted, but definitely from the back windows back, everything behind my window, right? All those windows tinted as dark as legally allowed, and having my side windows, front side windows, also tinted to the legal limit, just to make the air conditioning work better and all that, and also for security, so people can't see what's inside the thing. So I'm thinking about doing those modifications. Yeah, I'm thinking about those modifications. So what do you guys think? Do you guys think that we should be prepared if all hell breaks loose and you know what hits the fan? Do you think we should have a 50-watt GMRS radio in each of our vehicles? And do you think we should have like a 5-watt handheld GMRS radio to go with it, or a couple of them, just in case, all hell breaks loose and the cell phone systems go down and all that, so we have alternate ways to communicate? That's what the preppers are doing. A lot of the preppers are doing this, folks. They're getting GMRS radios, and some of them are also getting portable repeaters that they can use at different places. And again, if all hell's breaking loose, they can put a repeater up on top of the hill and use that to extend their range and so forth. So let me know, what do you think? Are you doing that? Are you doing that? We're talking about extreme weather and extreme conditions, so this is on the subject matter. Let's see here. I love the LX 600. The front end leaves a lot to be desired, but just like the Land Cruiser, it can be modified to my specs. Okay. Okay. Let's pull up the LX 600. Okay. All right, so let's take a look here. Let's take a look. 2022 LX 600 is the luxury Land Cruiser we deserve. Upscale sibling to the 300 series Land Cruiser will go on sale in the U.S. next year and offers new ultra luxury model with VIP rear seat setup. You know that? I could actually go for that. I could go for that front end. I could go for it. It looks like the tires are not super low profile. They're a little bit too low profile for me, but they're not ridiculously so. Now, the question is this a body on frame design? Is this the old fashioned design? It's a more luxurious version of the 300 series Land Cruiser and has the same twin turbo 3.5 liter V6 with 409 horsepower. Go on sale. Okay. It's interesting because didn't they discontinue the Land Cruiser? They're not selling the Land Cruiser anymore, and yet they're doing this for Lexus. This is interesting. Continues to be spiffed up version of Toyota's iconic SUV with different exterior. Okay, blah blah blah. The basics haven't changed much. The LX6, it remains its body on frame construction. Excellent. But it migrates onto the new platform shared with the Tundra and Land Cruiser and loses a claimed 441 pounds compared with the old model, four-wheel drive. Yeah, I saw the reviews on this. Matter of fact, I did a video on the channel showing the review of this thing when it was announced, and it's a pretty impressive vehicle. It really is a pretty impressive vehicle. Now, that said, would I be tempted to just buy one of the last Toyota Land Cruisers that had the more attractive front end and everything, if I could find like a little old lady one? Probably. I'd probably go that direction instead. But this is great that we have this option for somebody that wants to buy a new vehicle, that this is the workaround for the fact that the Land Cruiser is no longer being sold here. They can get this instead. I think that's a good move. David says 40 to 42 millimeter for me. David's still in the big watch camp. Okay, David, you can stay in the big watch camp. We'll welcome you back to the normal size watch camp later, says the guy who's wearing a 43 millimeter watch. But this one is 38 and a half mils, which I think for an all-arounder is a perfect size. 38 and a half mils. For my wrist size, which is 7.25 inches, I think that's a perfect size. 38 and a half mil. Oh, I skipped one. Let's see. I had a car with windows tinted beyond legal limit. Great during the day, but side visibility at night was atrocious. Okay, good to know. Good to know. Sent 2 watches. We'll take a look. It's body on frame. Yes, I just confirmed that too. No Land Cruiser in the U.S. market, only international. Yes, that's sad. The grill is a bit large, but the rest is pretty good. It's a body on frame. Yeah, I that grill could grow on me. That's not as hateful looking as the other Lexus models. Buy 2017 Land Cruiser with the 1UR V8 that will run forever. I hear you. I hear you, my friend. I hear you. I absolutely hear you and kind of agree with you. What have I missed? Lifting right now. You're good. You're good. Did we discuss don't buy still yet GS and or BTC? We were discussing some radical plans to buy BTC on debt. Yeah, we were discussing some radical plans. You're going to have to rewind on that one. Craig, opinions on 1990s Jeep Cherokees with the 4.0-liter engine. The inline straight 6 engine is your best option with those cars, but they're not very good. The cars in general are not very good. So I would stay away and just get a Land Cruiser. Just save up a little more money and get a Land Cruiser. Maybe a lot more money. What else? Oh, nobody commented on the radios, the two-way radios, the GMRS radios. Is that not a thing with the hipsters these days? Is that not a thing with the hipsters? There's a look on the front of the car again, and I'll tell you what, a good fabricator could probably come up with a really wild looking front end for that thing with a winch built into it and like heavy duty like bumper and everything, and for heavy duty off-road use. A good fabricator could probably come up with something pretty freaking awesome for that and make it look really, really awesome. That's a possibility too. Big watch equals greater than 43 mil. For me, 43 would be the limit. Yeah. And only for sport watch, not for an all-arounder. Land Cruisers are so damn expensive. As much as I love them, so impractical here in California. The money saved long term from reliability doesn't even matter anymore due to the cost of entry. I hear you. And what's the solution to that? I don't know what the solution is to that. The only solution to that is get lucky. The only solution to that is you stumble across one that's for sale that somebody doesn't really know the resale value. You know, it's at somebody's house with a for sale sign in it and they haven't advertised it yet, and you just snag it, you know, something like that. That's really the only solution, is get lucky, right? And get a good buy on one. Because you're right. The resale value on the damn things is so high that it almost does make sense to just go and buy a brand new, you know, one of these brand new vehicles and pay 100 grand for it. What is that? 100 grand? I mean, you know, I mean, I don't know what the solution is anymore. I mean, some cars have gotten insanely overpriced. Thank God, knock on wood, my Prius is running great. I don't have to worry about replacing a car anytime soon. But if I had to replace a car right now, I'm not sure what I would do. I guess I would buy an LS, like an LS 460. You can still get them. They've gone up a lot, but you can still get a nice one for around 25,000 based on what I've seen. 25 to 30 grand. You can buy a real nice LS 460. And so that might be what I would do. Yeah. But maybe you can stumble across a Land Cruiser at a decent price. A big watch is relative to one's wrist size and overall frame. A 43 millimeter watch looks like a Datejust on a linebacker and looks like a clown watch on a small Chinese man. Good point. Good point. But Muhammad Ali, didn't he wear like a 34 millimeter square watch? And it looked fine on him, right? And he was not a small guy. He didn't have small wrists. Craig, you should get a switch to retract the license plate on the Prius. Solution to that is move out of shithole California. Oh God. Better off getting a ham license, Craig. Well, see, here's the problem with ham. And I have looked into all this. Here's the problem with ham. Is ham cannot be legally used for anything commercial. And I would want to be able to talk, you know, about a client on there or whatever. I would want to be able to do some commercial stuff if I wanted to. And with GMRS, you're allowed to do that. The license is in your name, but you can talk about business. Like I could, if I was talking to Brianna over it and she was at a sponsor's place and they were shooting a video or something, she had some questions, I could talk about business legally over GMRS. You're not supposed to do it on ham, and they really would jump on you and frown upon it if you did that sort of thing. So to me, that's the big downside of ham. Ham has so many upsides. There's a lot of upsides, but that's a big downside. The other big downside to ham is, who are you going to talk to? Other hams, right? Other hobbyists that are into ham. Where the GMRS, it's becoming more like CB 2.0, where a lot of normal people are going to have those radios and you can talk to them as you're going down the road, checking on traffic or whatever. Like a lot of the truckers are going to be using it and so on. And so you'll have more people to talk to as far as normal everyday stuff. And if you have a friend, you know, it's real easy for them to get the license, right? And so they don't have to take a test and all that stuff. And so they can just pay right now it's $70, but it's supposed to drop to 35. It hasn't yet, but they can go ahead and just pay the $35 and get the license, and it covers everybody in their family. And ham's not like that, right? So there are a couple of big downsides to ham that would mean that I think for most people, the GMRS is going to be the solution. That's what a lot of preppers are using and stuff. So there you go. Now, in a perfect world, you just do both, right? I might end up doing both. I might end up having both a ham radio and a GMRS radio in the vehicle and be able to use both. I haven't got my ham license yet, but I might study for it and get it, because if all you know what does break loose, ham is going to be very important also. I think they're both going to be important. I must leave California as soon as possible. Kyle in the house on the 97 Jeep Cherokee Sport. It was awesome. Okay. Think about it, 70 to 80K for a used Land Cruiser. You could buy one of these German SUVs used with a huge warranty. They're d- they are a dumpster fire waiting to happen, but at half the price, does it matter? Yeah, it can matter. I mean, think about it. You can buy a Range Rover a lot cheaper, right? But I just hate driving around in a car that I know can fail at any given time. I'm too old for that. I want the maximum reliability I can possibly get, especially in a vehicle, because I don't want to be standing by the side of the road cussing. I'm just that ship has sailed. I've been there, done that. I've had Jaguars, I've had all kinds of unreliable cars, Rolls Royce. I mean, you name it. I've had every unreliable car you can think of back in the day, and I put up with it. Right? I was young. You can handle it. I put up with it. Um, but I just don't want to put up with that that fun stuff anymore. Newer Cherokees, newer Cherokees are reliable vehicles. Yeah, but I don't think they're as reliable as a Toyota. More tech, warranty to cover inevitable issues, better gas mileage, and not like I can use a Land Cruiser to its capacity, not to mention parking practicality. It's just sad, as I love the Land Cruiser. And if you're not doing off road, do like I did. Get yourself a Prius. I mean, you can buy one, probably a real nice one for 10 grand. Really, really nice one for 10 grand all day long. And, with like 100,000 miles on it and great condition, one owner, something like that. And then, no worries. Just drive it and you have nothing to worry about. I can't wait for Rivian to become available. Okay. All right. Is that electric truck? You need an SUV that can haul a Honda dirt bike in the back. Again, hey, here's the option. Do what I was thinking about doing. Get yourself a decommissioned ambulance. There was one the other day on the GovDeals website that was a medium duty 4-wheel drive. It had the emission stuff. It was a 2009, but the emissions crap was factory deleted on it. It didn't have the emissions crap on the diesel engine. The only reason I didn't buy it, it sold for 43,000, had 100,000 miles on it. Nice truck. The only reason I didn't buy it is it's in Ohio. I'm not buying something out of the Rust Belt. But if that thing was in Georgia or Florida or something and in great shape, no rust. Also, the other reason I didn't buy it, it did have 8,000 hours on the engine. That scared me. Although some people that doesn't scare, but it had 100,000 miles on the total rig and 8,000 hours on the engine. That was pretty high engine hours. So, but that was a medium duty, 14-foot box, 74 inches inside height. It was a pretty awesome truck. Sold for $43,000. So, if you want something extreme for extreme heavy use, a medium duty decommissioned ambulance that's a 4x4, actually it would be 6 wheels driving it, right? Dualies in the back and drive on the front axle. That thing sold for, like I say, I think it was $43,000. Let's see. Triforce Rich. Nah, not a Range Rover. That will fail and it will annoy the hell out of you, even if it's paid for by warranty. A Mercedes or BMW is somewhat tolerable if taken care of. Land Rover, heck no. Even the Mercedes and BMW can jump up and bite you big time. There is no substitute for Japanese reliability. My second choice would be Nissan. If you can get by with a Subaru, Subarus are very reliable, but that's going to be a smaller vehicle, right? But you could get a Subaru and have 4-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, right? It's not going to have a high-low range and stuff like that. But anyway, Trevor says German cars aren't as unreliable as many assume. I have an 06 C-Class and it hasn't given me any issues. I bought it with 130,000 miles. Just wait, Lance. Give it time. Just wait. It'll jump up and bite you in the you know what at probably the least opportune time. 4Runner TRD Pro. Okay. There you go. GMRS doesn't have the range when thing to hell life is important. It depends on your setting. If you're in a real hilly area, range is going to be a problem because it's mainly line of sight. But if you're in a flat area like Florida or something, it's going to have really good range, especially if you have a mobile unit with a decent antenna on the rig with a 50-watt transceiver. You're going to have plenty of range. I mean, 30, 40, 50 miles, whatever. And there are more and more repeaters being installed as it gets more and more popular. And with repeaters, of course, you'll be able to talk hundreds of miles. So it really depends on your terrain, where you are, and of course, how far you want to talk in the first place. You might only want to talk around your immediate region, a couple of miles, right? In which case, it's a piece of cake. I mean, my gosh, you can even in nasty conditions, you can talk a couple miles on them. So all that depends on all those situations. They got to take all those into consideration. Thoughts on Subaru? Subaru is bulletproof, reliable. They're very good. Not quite as good as Toyota. I would say Toyota, Honda, then Subaru. That's the way I would go. Nice vest. We talked about the vests earlier. And I will put a link. There's another shot vest that I have. I will put a link in the, it's not in the description now, but I'll put a link to all these photos of various high-end clothing items that you can get. These are all vests that I have. And most of these, that one's made in the USA. Most of these are made in the USA. The one that I wore yesterday was made in, I think, India. There's the one I'm wearing now, the shot vest. So yeah, there's a Lucchese vest made in the USA. So we'll, and that one is a cashmere vest. So I'll put the link in the description to all the vests so you can figure out if you want a vest. My dad has owned his Prius for 15 years. It has 260,000 miles, and he spent less than 3,000 in repair parts for it. Toyota cars look ugly, but they are tanks and will last forever with low miles. I think my Prius looks fine. Yeah, that's right. Let's see, Lance, that's because it's probably well taken care of. If a German car isn't properly maintained, it becomes like a human being with a terminal disease. Even a Toyota Prius doesn't even have to be that well maintained. That's the good thing about them is you just change the oil in it every once in a while. I've maintained mine pretty well, but I've seen a lot of them that aren't maintained that well, and they still just keep right on going. They are very forgiving. I see so many guys. I guess you were saying that his German car was well maintained. That's why it's done okay. That doesn't matter. It's still going to give trouble whether it's well maintained or not. It's going to give trouble. I see many guys driving big dualies, not hauling anything, ego truck, or they just don't give a rat's rear end. I own several BMW M cars and would not recommend a German SUV as a should hit the fan scenario. I hear you. Luckily, I don't have car problems. I have paid off GS. That is GS. That is my favorite car I've ever owned. Yeah, the Lexus. I had a GS 300, 1999. That was a fantastic car with the inline six. Try first search. Probably the guy I bought it from is a trained Ferrari mechanic, so I'm sure he took good care of it. Okay. But Lance, just make sure you get rid of it before it has a major failure. That's what you want to do. That's the thing. People really have to realize there's no turning around a skip maintenance with a German car. Once someone screws it up, it's done. Interesting. I think it's going to give trouble no matter what. Even if they maintain it properly, I think it's still going to give trouble. I used to laugh because there would be people with like their service records, all their service records for their Mercedes. I bought a lot of used Mercedes, right? And they'd have this book, this thick of all their service records, right? And oh man, this has been a great car, and so on and so forth. And I'm thinking to myself, my God, well, look at all those freaking receipts. What's your definition of a great car? you, you had to do all that to it over a 10-year period, My folder for my Prius is like, that thick, right? Their Mercedes ones like that, right? They're quote service records. What about a Mercedes Unimog? They're amazing. They might be the exception to the rule. Those things are literally built like a tank. They're built for military use. They're built to be exceedingly reliable. Especially the older ones without all the electronic crap on them. And this would go for other vehicles as well. If you can get for example, if you get a vehicle with a diesel engine in it that is pre-electronic stuff, that has the mechanical injection pump, that has maybe the old 5.9 liter Cummins with the mechanical injection pump and all that stuff, before they started putting all the emission stuff on and all that crap, you get one of those and you just keep the filters clean and the fuel lines from the fuel. You just get it clean fuel into the engine, clean air, have a good air filter on it, keep good oil in it and all that, right? Those things will literally run indefinitely without any of the pollution control crap on them, right? That's what you want, is you want a diesel engine, pre-emissions. Like my old Bluebird had the Cat 3208, which isn't one of the best Caterpillar diesel engines, but it's good enough. And that everything was mechanical. And so there was no electronic crap to fail on it. And that would be the one to have if in the shit hit the fan scenario, right? Because you don't have to worry about an electromagnetic pulse, knocking out the thing and all that kind of crap because it's all mechanical. It'll just work. Oh, he sent 2 watches. I got to get to this, and then we got to wrap it up. Okay, so this is kind of cool. This is kind of cool. It's kind of clean looking, good price. Yeah, it's 18 karat gold. I like it. I'm tempted. And can I make this full screen? Let's see. Yeah, here we go. I like it. It's very simple, very clean looking. I like it. I'd need a chain to go with it. $63.8 grams. Wow. Neat. Starting bid $6,300. Nobody even bid on it. Nobody has any class anymore. Nobody wears a pocket watch. Okay, let's go back to the next one here. Dun 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 dun. $47.95. Trying to get this to won't go to full screen. Sometimes they don't. This is very similar to the watch that Brianna has, if not the same watch. Oh, it is the same watch, I think. SBGX038. I think that is the reference for hers. So yeah, that's the price is higher, but they'll take an offer. But yeah, that's always been a great deal. Those watches have always been a really good value, in my opinion. Of course, I bought one, so of course I thought it was a good value. As someone who used to have a 5 Series, it lived with a check engine light on. As soon as it 100K, it could not function with constant, I guess it meant without constant maintenance. I had to sell it. Okay, yeah. I hear Jerry Seinfeld dailies an 80 Mercedes station wagon with a diesel engine. Well, yeah, see, that's a perfect example. Some of those, like a 300 TD wagon, right, with the inline 5-cylinder engine, turbo diesel. Again, all mechanical injection on that. Those are relatively reliable and relatively low maintenance. The only problem with those is there was a rust problem on all of them. So that was the problem there. If you got one that was rust free, they'll go hundreds of thousands of miles, no problem. I drove several mid 70s to late 70s, like a 1978 300 SD turbo diesel, the senior series turbo diesel. That could be a very reliable, big, comfortable sedan if you could find one in really great shape from a rust-free area. That Grand Seiko is beautiful, but what model is it? The first image you showed before Brianna's GS. Oh, are you talking about the SBGY, that one? That's the SBGY 002, SBGY 002, and that is my gold stunner. And so I'll make sure there's a link to the page that describes that and everything in the description of this video. I don't think it's there now, but I will add it after the show. Let's see. Gold hardware and paper like dial. Yeah. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to wrap this puppy up, and I appreciate everybody watching, and hopefully we'll do another emergency broadcast soon because we're in the middle of a major snowstorm here, a big-ass snowstorm, so we'll see what happens with all of that. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe and send me an email, my name at gmail.com, CraigShipp@gmail.com, if you want to be added to the email list, so that we email you when we're going to do a show, just in case you don't get the notifications. I'm maintaining an email list. Thanks again for watching, everybody.